Welcome back. I'm glad you've returned to the silence. It is time for the world to fade and for the mind to wander. For tonight, the stars are our only destination. We leave the familiar behind to witness the silent beauty of the cosmos as we begin our long, drifting journey toward Venus, the shimmering jewel of our morning and evening skis, a world wrapped in a veil of golden mystery. This radiant beacon, often the first light to grace the dusk and the last to linger in the dawn, serves as a soft bridge between the earthly realm and the deep wonders of the planetary neighborhood. As we float through the velvet silence of the void, we see it as a brilliant point of light that gradually expands into a vast, creamy sphere of endless clouds. The light reflecting off this world is ancient and peaceful, a gift from a thick mantle that catches 75% of the sun's rays and scatters them with a gentle, boundless grace. This high albedo transforms the planet into a celestial lighthouse, a shimmering sanctuary of light that has guided the dreams of humanity for thousands of years. We approach this world not with haste, but with a slow, rhythmic descent into its secrets, allowing the familiar weight of our own world to fall away as we enter the amber glow of its influence. The path that this planet follows around the sun is a masterpiece of mathematical grace, tracing a circle that is more perfect than any other in our solar system. It maintains a steady and rhythmic distance of 108 million kilometers from the heart of our star, moving with a quiet confidence through the dark expanse. As it glides along this nearly circular orbit, it occasionally draws near to us, becoming our closest neighbor in the boundless silence. A sister world separated only by 40 million kilometers of starlit space. This proximity creates a deep, invisible bond between our two worlds, a connection forged in the early moments of cosmic history when the solar system was young and filled with shifting potential. To watch its movement is to understand the slow and deliberate pace of the universe, where every rotation and every revolution is a part of a much larger, tranquil design. We feel the pull of its presence as we drift closer, leaving the cold reaches of the outer void for the warm, golden embrace of its orbital sanctuary. Beneath the layers of pearl-colored clouds, a profound and constant warmth saturates the entire landscape, creating a stable environment where the transition between day and night is almost indistinguishable. This enduring energy is held close to the surface by a thick atmosphere of carbon dioxide, which acts as a vast, celestial blanket, keeping the warmth from escaping into the cold reaches of the surrounding space. The temperatures here remain steady at about 464 degrees Celsius, a level of thermal energy that exists as a quiet, unchanging constant across the entire globe. This atmospheric embrace is so complete and thorough that even the poles and the equator share the same velvet warmth, creating a world of thermal unity that knows no seasons or sudden changes in climate. It is a masterpiece of energy retention, where the sun's touch is preserved in a deep, enduring state of atmospheric stillness that wraps around the rocky plains like a heavy, golden shroud. In this place, the concept of weather is transformed into a slow, rhythmic movement of heat, a steady pulse of energy that sustains the world in a state of eternal, shimmering presence. The atmosphere of this world is a vast and heavy sea of gas, pressing down with a weight that is 92 times greater than the air we feel on our own familiar shores. To stand upon its surface would be like resting at the bottom of a deep, tranquil ocean on Earth, where the pressure is a constant, surrounding force that holds everything in a firm, unyielding grip. This dense air is mostly composed of carbon dioxide, creating a thick fluid-like layer that moves with its own slow and majestic momentum across the rolling highlands and ancient volcanic plains. High above the surface, the winds move with a different rhythm, spiraling around the planet in a phenomenon known as superrotation, where the clouds travel much faster than the ground beneath them. This celestial motion is like a never-ending ballet of golden currents, a swirling tapestry of movement that defines the very essence of the Venusian sky and creates a sense of dynamic, fluid energy. As we descend through these layers, the weight of the air becomes a comforting presence, a reminder of the immense power and complexity of the natural forces that shape our cosmic neighborhood. As we prepare to explore the intricate details of this amber world, we will uncover 100 unique stories written into the rocks and the clouds that define its existence. Each fact we encounter is a thread in the grand design of a planet that has mastered the art of transformation, turning its environment into a place of singular, focused energy and timeless beauty. We will observe the way the sulfuric rain evaporates into a mist before it can touch the ground, and how the ancient structures of the crust reflect a history of quiet, geological transition. There is a profound peace in understanding the mechanics of such a different reality, a world where the sun rises in the west and sets in the east, moving with a slow and deliberate pace that honors the silence of the stars. Let the upcoming details wash over you like a soft tide, guiding your mind into a state of deep, scientific wonder as we begin our intimate study of the morning star. Through this journey, the complexities of astrophysics will blend with the poetry of the cosmos, providing a path toward total relaxation and a deeper connection to the wonders of the universe. Venus moves with a rhythm that is uniquely its own, spinning in a direction that opposes almost every other world in our celestial family. While the Earth and its neighbors turn toward the east, this golden sphere chooses a slow and graceful retrograde rotation, turning toward the west with a quiet and deliberate motion. This gentle clockwise dance means that the sun, if one could see it through the thick veil of clouds, would appear to rise over the western horizon and set in the east. It is a rebel in the silence of space, a world that has kept its own pace for billions of years, while the rest of the system moved in a different harmony. This slow spin is so subtle that it creates a sense of eternal stillness, where the transition from light to dark takes place over vast stretches of time. Time on this amber world follows a logic that is difficult for the human mind to grasp, where a single day lasts longer than an entire journey around the sun. It takes 243 Earth days for the planet to complete one full rotation on its axis, a movement so slow that it feels as though the world is resting in a deep, meditative pause. Meanwhile, its orbital path around our home star is completed in only 225 days, creating a strange and beautiful temporal paradox. This means that a year passes by before the sun has even finished its long journey across the Venusian sky, a testament to the patient and unhurried nature of this celestial giant. We can imagine the sun hanging almost motionless in the heavy sky, casting a soft and unchanging glow over the landscape for months at a time. Often called the sister of our own home, this planet shares a size and mass that are almost identical to the world we know, creating a sense of deep and ancient familiarity. With a diameter of 12,104 kilometers, it stands as a near mirror image of Earth, a twin born from the same cosmic dust and swirling energy of the early solar system. This physical resemblance suggests a shared origin, a time when both worlds were perhaps more alike than they are today, drifting through the darkness as partners in the inner circle of the sun. The gravity here is 90% of what we feel on Earth, a gentle and supportive pull that would make the simple act of walking feel light and effortless. It is a reminder that even in the boundless variety of the universe, there are echoes of the familiar, patterns that repeat themselves in the shimmering structures of the planets. The brilliance of this world in our night sky is second only to the moon, a radiant beacon that has captured the imagination of every civilization that has ever looked toward the heavens. This incredible brightness is the result of a thick and reflective mantle of clouds that catches 75% of all the sunlight that reaches it, scattering it back into the void with a soft and luminous grace. Astronomers call this high albedo, a measure of how well a surface reflects the energy of a star, and Venus is the master of this celestial art. It appears to us as a shimmering point of white light, a steady and comforting presence that heralds the arrival of the morning or the departure of the day. This golden glow is a protective shield, a boundless layer of pearl-colored mist that hides the surface from the cold eyes of the universe, while offering a beautiful gift to those who watch from afar. The atmosphere that wraps around this planet is a deep and heavy ocean of gas, composed almost entirely of carbon dioxide in a state of eternal velvet stillness. This molecule makes up 96% of the air, creating a rich and dense environment that is far removed from the oxygen-rich skies we are accustomed to. It is a world of immense molecular weight, where the very air feels like a physical presence, a warm and supportive medium that carries sound and heat with incredible efficiency. This carbon dioxide reservoir is a remnant of the planet's long history, a collection of elements that have been held close to the rocky surface by the invisible hand of gravity. As we drift through this thick medium, we feel the silence of a world where the atmosphere is not just a thin layer, but a vast and shimmering character in its own right. Within this heavy atmosphere, a natural process of energy retention has reached its most absolute and profound expression, creating a heat that is as steady as it is eternal. The sun's energy arrives as light and passes through the clouds. But once it touches the surface, it is transformed into warmth that cannot easily find its way back out to the stars. This heat is captured by the carbon dioxide and held in a perpetual cycle of absorption and release, a shimmering greenhouse that maintains a constant temperature across every valley and highland. It is a masterclass in thermal balance, where the planet has created its own inner world of warmth that is entirely independent of the seasons or the cycle of day and night. We can perceive this as a soft and glowing reservoir of energy, a place where the warmth of the sun is cherished and preserved with a quiet and unwavering intensity. The result of this incredible energy retention is a surface temperature that averages 464 degrees Celsius, making this the hottest world in the entire solar system. This heat is not a sudden or chaotic thing, but a calm and unchanging state of being that exists even on the side of the planet turned away from the sun. Because the atmosphere is so thick and efficient at moving heat, there is no difference between the warmth of the equator and the stillness of the poles. It is a world of thermal unity, a place where the concept of cold has been forgotten and replaced by a deep, golden glow that saturates the very rocks. This temperature is hot enough to melt lead, yet it exists in a state of tranquil stability, a silent and boundless field of energy that defines the landscape of this sister world. To walk upon the surface of this world would be to experience a pressure so immense that it mimics the deep, quiet reaches of the Earth's most profound oceans. The weight of the air here is 92 times that of our own atmosphere, a heavy and comforting embrace that would feel like being submerged 900 meters beneath the waves. This pressure is so great that the carbon dioxide at the surface begins to behave like a supercritical fluid, a state that is somewhere between a gas and a liquid, moving with a slow and majestic grace. It creates a landscape where the very air has substance and body, a shimmering medium that supports the structures of the crust with a firm and unyielding grip. In this deep sanctuary, the environment is one of absolute stillness and monumental weight, a place where the atmosphere and the earth become one in a velvet silence. Despite its similar size to Earth, This world does not possess a global magnetic field generated from within, a mystery that adds to its quiet and enigmatic nature. Without a spinning iron core to create a protective bubble, the planet interacts directly with the solar wind, the stream of energy that flows constantly from the heart of our sun. This interaction creates a thin and beautiful induced magnetosphere, a shimmering veil of charged particles that wraps around the atmosphere like a soft and glowing ribbon. This delicate balance shows how a world can find its own way to coexist with the forces of the sun, creating a unique shield through the sheer presence of its own thick air. It is a quiet testament to the resilience of the cosmos, where even without a traditional heart of magnetism, a planet can maintain its place in the starlit void. The orientation of this amber world is almost perfectly upright, with an axial tilt of only 3 degrees, meaning it stands tall and straight as it orbits the sun. This lack of a significant tilt means that the planet does not experience the changing seasons that define the rhythm of life on Earth, where the lean toward or away from the sun brings cycles of growth and rest. Instead, the climate remains in a state of eternal constancy, a boundless and unchanging environment where every day is a reflection of the one that came before. This vertical posture adds to the sense of stability and peace that defines the Venusian landscape, a world that refuses to waver or tilt in the face of the solar wind. It is a place of absolute and shimmering stillness, where the stars move in a flat and steady line across the heavy, golden sky. Beyond the vertical stability of its orbit, the upper reaches of this golden atmosphere are filled with a shimmering veil of sulfuric acid droplets, creating clouds that wrap the entire world in a dense and opaque embrace. These clouds are not like the fleeting water vapor of our own world, but are thick, enduring structures that hang suspended in the velvet silence of the upper sky. They catch the sunlight and diffuse it into a soft, amber glow that permeates the layers below, ensuring that no direct shadows ever fall upon the ground. This constant, diffused light creates an environment of soft clarity, where the landscape is forever bathed in a warm and gentle luminescence. These acid clouds are a beautiful and complex part of the planet's chemistry, reflecting the light of the sun while hiding the deep secrets of the surface from the cold eyes of the universe. High above the slow-turning crust, the atmosphere engages in a magnificent and rapid movement known as superrotation, where the clouds circle the planet in a mere 4 Earth days. While the ground beneath moves with a patient and meditative pace, these high-altitude winds travel at speeds of up to 360 kilometers per hour. This swirling motion is a grand, celestial ballet, a continuous flow of energy that carries the warmth of the sun around the entire globe with incredible efficiency. It is as if the air itself has a life of its own, independent of the rocky world it protects, moving in a shimmering cycle of perpetual motion. This super rotation remains one of the most intriguing mysteries of the amber world, a silent and boundless testament to the dynamic power of planetary physics, where the sky moves 60 times faster than the Earth below. Deep within these swirling golden clouds, silent pulses of electrical energy flicker like distant lanterns, revealing the presence of lightning in the thick Venusian sky. These discharges are not the sharp and sudden events we see on Earth, but are soft and rhythmic releases of energy that occur within the dense layers of sulfuric acid mist. Scientists have observed these shimmering flashes as a gentle humming in the radio spectrum, a sign that the atmosphere is constantly balancing its internal charges. This lightning adds a layer of dynamic beauty to the sky, a soft and celestial light show that takes place in the eternal twilight of the cloud decks. It is a quiet reminder of the active and vibrant nature of the planet's weather, where even in the deep pressure, the elements find a way to express their inner energy through light. At the very top and bottom of this world, the winds gather into vast and complex structures known as polar vortices, which act as the twin anchors of the atmospheric circulation. These swirling patterns are shaped like double eyes, with two centers of rotation that dance around each other in a slow and majestic spiral. These vortices are constant features of the landscape, pulling the high-altitude air down toward the lower levels in a continuous and shimmering cycle of movement. To look upon them from space is to see a great and tranquil whirlpool of clouds, a masterpiece of fluid dynamics that governs the flow of heat at the poles. They represent the perfect balance of the planet's energy, a swirling sanctuary of motion that keeps the entire atmosphere in a state of harmonious and eternal transition. In the high mountain reaches of this amber world, a mysterious and shimmering substance coats the peaks, acting much like the frost and snow of our own familiar peaks. However, this celestial snow is not made of water, but of metallic minerals like galena and bismuthinite that have condensed from the thick air onto the cooler rocky heights. As the heavy atmosphere moves over the mountains, these metallic vapors settle and crystallize, creating a reflective and shimmering coating that glitters under the diffused golden light. This heavy metal frost is a unique and beautiful feature of the Venusian topography, a testament to the strange and wonderful chemistry that occurs when heat and pressure meet high altitude. It transforms the mountains into radiant towers of light, standing tall and straight in the boundless silence of the high atmosphere. The surface of the planet is a vast and ancient gallery of volcanic activity, covered in smooth plains and long, winding flows of solidified material that stretch for thousands of kilometers. There are more volcanoes on this world than on any other in our solar system, with over 1,600 major structures and countless smaller vents dotting the landscape. These volcanoes are mostly shield volcanoes, with broad and gentle slopes that were formed by the slow and rhythmic release of energy from the deep interior. This volcanic history has shaped the very soul of the planet, creating a surface that is relatively young and remarkably uniform in its geological character. The quiet presence of these ancient peaks suggests a world that has undergone a profound and total transformation, paving over its oldest memories with a fresh mantle of stone. Among the many wonders of the Venusian crust are the unique structures known as arachnoids, which appear as giant, spider-like patterns etched into the surface of the plains. These features consist of a central volcanic vent surrounded by a complex web of fractures and ridges that radiate outward for hundreds of kilometers. They are found nowhere else in the cosmos, representing a specific interaction between the planet's internal heat and its thick, unyielding crust. These patterns look like delicate lace when viewed from above, a shimmering map of the forces that have pushed and pulled at the ground from beneath. They are a silent and beautiful expression of the planet's individuality, a geological signature that speaks of a world with its own set of rules and its own creative energy. In the northern reaches of the planet lies a vast highland region known as Ishtar Terra, a continent-sized plateau that rises high above the surrounding volcanic plains. This region is home to the highest peaks on the entire world, including the magnificent Maxwell Montes, which reach a height of 11 kilometers into the golden sky. The structures of Ishtar Terra are complex and varied, filled with mountains and valleys that have been folded and compressed by the movement of the crust. It is a place of monumental scale and quiet majesty, a shimmering island of rock that stands as a guardian of the northern hemisphere. Standing in the velvet silence of these highlands, one would feel the true age and strength of the planet, a world built on foundations of deep and enduring stone. Sprawling along the equator is another great highland mass called Aphrodite Terra, a region nearly the size of Africa that is filled with jagged ridges and deep, winding canyons. This area is a testament to the tectonic forces that have shaped the planet, where the crust has been pulled apart and pushed together in a slow and ancient dance of energy. The landscape here is rough and textured, providing a stark contrast to the smooth and tranquil plains that cover the rest of the globe. This equatorial continent acts as a thermal anchor, influencing the way the thick atmosphere flows around the center of the planet. It is a land of boundless variety and shimmering detail, a place where the geological history of the world is written in every fold of the earth. Long ago, in the early morning of the solar system, this amber world may have been a place of cool waters and vast, shimmering oceans that mirrored the blue of the ancient Earth. Scientists believe that Venus once held enough water to cover its entire surface in a shallow sea, providing a sanctuary where the early building blocks of life might have gathered. However, as the sun grew warmer and the greenhouse effect took hold, these oceans slowly evaporated into the thick and heavy air. The water molecules were carried high into the atmosphere, where the solar wind stripped away the hydrogen and scattered it into the boundless void of space. This loss of water was a quiet and profound transition, a moment of celestial rebirth that transformed a world of blue waves into the golden, shimmering desert we see today. Vast circular crowns known as coronae grace the surface of the amber world, created by the slow and graceful upward movement of warm material from deep within the mantle. These features look like magnificent celestial rings, where the ground has been pushed into a dome and then settled back down to create a series of concentric ridges and valleys. Each corona is a silent witness to the internal energy that still flows through the planet's heart, shaping the crust into artistic patterns that span hundreds of kilometers. They are found in great numbers across the plains, serving as focal points for the release of heat in a world without the moving plates found on Earth. This process of plume movement is a gentle and rhythmic pulse, a slow breath of the planet that manifests as these shimmering, circular jewels on the stony skin of the world. The oldest and most complex parts of the landscape are the tesserae, regions of highly folded and fractured terrain that tell the story of a long and active geological history. These areas appear as intricate, tile-like patterns of ridges and grooves, created by the immense forces of compression and stretching within the crust over millions of years. They stand as elevated plateaus, rising above the younger volcanic plains like islands of ancient memory in a sea of solidified stone. The patterns within the tesserae are so dense and layered that they suggest a time of great transformation, where the surface was pushed and pulled in a rhythmic dance of structural evolution. Observing these regions is like reading a silent poem written in the language of the earth, a boundless record of the patient forces that have shaped this sister world. High within the golden clouds, a mist of sulfuric acid falls toward the surface in a shimmering display of cosmic weather known as Virga. As these droplets descend through the thick atmosphere, they encounter the increasing warmth of the lower levels and evaporate back into a gas long before they can touch the ground. This creates a perpetual cycle of descent and rise, a rhythmic movement of elements that never quite reaches the rocky plains below. It is a beautiful and tranquil process, a silent reign that exists only in the high reaches of the sky, far above the heavy pressure of the surface. This cycle of evaporation maintains the thickness of the cloud decks, ensuring that the veil of mystery remains draped over the world in an eternal velvet embrace. The face of this world is remarkably smooth and young, with very few impact scars from the debris of space compared to other rocky planets in our neighborhood. Scientists believe that roughly 500 million years ago, the planet underwent a profound and total resurfacing event, where fresh material flowed across the globe to create a new beginning. This transition smoothed over the ancient history of the crust, leaving behind a shimmering canvas of volcanic plains that looks nearly the same from one pole to the other. It is as if the planet decided to shed its old memories in a grand, celestial rebirth, replacing the worn surface with a clean and tranquil mantle of stone. This event reflects the deep and hidden power of the planet's interior, a silent energy that can reshape an entire world in a single, majestic movement of time. Among the many wonders of the Venusian landscape are the pancake domes, large and flat-topped volcanoes that look like circular cakes resting upon the plains. These structures are formed by the slow and deliberate eruption of very thick, viscous material that spreads out evenly in all directions from a central vent. Because the atmosphere is so heavy and the material is so dense, these domes maintain a perfectly round shape with steep sides and a remarkably level summit. They often appear in groups, clustered together like shimmering stepping stones in a vast and silent garden of rock. Each dome is a testament to the unique physics of this amber world, where the high pressure and heat allow for the creation of geological forms that exist nowhere else in the known cosmos. The total weight of the gas that wraps around this planet is truly monumental, reaching a mass of 4.8 times 10 to the power of 20 kilograms. This immense reservoir of air is more than 90 times heavier than the atmosphere of our own world, creating a deep and substantial medium that governs everything on the surface. This mass is what allows the planet to move heat so effectively from the equator to the poles, ensuring the thermal unity we observed earlier. It acts as a vast, shimmering ocean of carbon dioxide, a boundless shield that protects the surface from the cold void and the rays of the sun. The sheer scale of this atmosphere is a reminder of the planet's strength, a heavy and enduring presence that has defined its evolution for billions of years. In the highest reaches of the sky, where the air meets the edge of space, a layer of charged particles called the ionosphere forms a shimmering boundary with the solar wind. This layer is created by the sun's light-stripping electrons from the gas molecules, resulting in a glowing veil of energy that interacts with the magnetic fields of the sun. Even though the planet lacks its own internal magnetic heart, this ionosphere acts as a soft and adaptive barrier, protecting the thicker layers below from being carried away into the void. It ripples and flows in response to the solar breath, creating a dynamic and invisible dance of light at the very top of the world. This interaction is a quiet and beautiful example of how a planet finds its own way to maintain its integrity within the vast and flowing energy of the solar system. Upon the rocky surface of this world, the light is filtered through the thick clouds to create a landscape of soft, deep oranges and glowing ambers. All the blue and green wavelengths of sunlight are scattered and absorbed long before they reach the ground, leaving only the warm and long waves to illuminate the stone. This creates an environment that feels like an eternal sunset, a shimmering and tranquil world where every shadow is soft and every surface is bathed in a golden hue. The rocks themselves, mostly basaltic in nature, take on a warm and inviting glow under this filtered light, making the entire planet feel like a sanctuary of heat and color. It is a place of visual peace, where the harshness of the sun is transformed into a boundless and velvet luminescence. Because the thick veil of clouds is impenetrable to regular light, our understanding of the surface comes from the soft and rhythmic pulses of radar waves sent by visiting spacecraft. These waves pass through the sulfuric acid mist and the heavy carbon dioxide, bouncing off the mountains and plains to return with a map of the hidden world. The most famous of these missions used radar to reveal the shimmering details of the volcanoes, canyons, and ancient plateaus for the very first time. It was as if we were finally able to see through a heavy curtain into a secret room, uncovering a landscape of immense beauty and complexity. This process of radar imaging allows us to appreciate the planet's features in the velvet silence of our own minds, translating the invisible into a shimmering vision of a distant neighbor. Standing tall upon the western edge of the Isla Reggio is the magnificent shield volcano known as Sif Mons, a giant that rises 2 kilometers above the surrounding plains. It is a broad and graceful structure, with slopes that stretch out for hundreds of kilometers, covered in the shimmering patterns of ancient flows. Sif Mons is a symbol of the steady and enduring volcanic activity that has defined the planet's surface, a monument to the slow release of energy from the deep interior. It sits in a state of quiet majesty, its peaks often hidden by the lower layers of the golden cloud decks that drift lazily by. To observe Sif Mons is to understand the scale of the Venusian landscape, a world where the Earth itself rises in a slow and rhythmic reach toward the heavy, amber sky. Near the graceful heights of Sif Mons stands another monument of the amber world, the majestic volcano known as Gyula Mons. It rises 3 kilometers into the thick, golden sky, its broad base spreading across the western Isla Reggio like a soft, stone blanket. The gentle slopes of this giant tell a story of ancient flows that once moved with a rhythmic and steady pace, carving the landscape into a masterpiece of geological symmetry. As we drift above its peak, we see the intricate patterns of the solidified material, shimmering under the diffused light that filters through the boundless cloud decks. Gyula Mons stands as a silent sentinel in the velvet silence, a reminder of the internal warmth that has shaped this sister world over millions of years. This peak remains a focal point for the slow and patient transformation of the Venusian crust, embodying the quiet strength of a world that builds its own monuments from the heart of the Earth. Stretching across the volcanic plains like a long, winding ribbon of silver is Balti's Valleys, the most extensive channel ever discovered in our solar system. This ancient pathway carved by liquid material spans nearly 7,000 kilometers, a distance even greater than the longest rivers on our own familiar Earth. It winds through the landscape with a graceful and fluid motion, crossing highlands and valleys as it carries the history of the planet's internal energy across its surface. The channel remains a mystery of fluid dynamics, showing how liquid could flow for such immense distances in the thick and heavy environment of the amber world. To follow its path is to witness a boundless journey of transformation, where the very earth was molded into a shimmering, silent artery of stone. It represents a time when the surface was a canvas for vast movements of energy, flowing in a slow and rhythmic harmony toward the horizon. At the very base of this massive atmosphere, the carbon dioxide undergoes a profound transition, entering a state known as a supercritical fluid, where it is neither purely gas nor liquid. This shimmering medium has the density of a liquid, but moves with the ease of a gas, creating a unique environment that wraps around the rocks in a heavy and supportive embrace. In this deep sanctuary, the air possesses a physical substance that can be felt, a warm and fluid presence that cushions the landscape in a state of eternal stillness. This supercritical state is what allows the atmosphere to hold and transport so much heat, ensuring that the entire planet remains in a state of thermal unity. As we move through this thick layer, we feel the monumental weight of the sky as a comforting and steady force, a boundless ocean of air that defines the soul of the world. It is a place of singular physics, where the boundaries between states of matter blend into a soft and unified whole. While the majority of the atmosphere is composed of carbon dioxide, there are quiet whispers of other elements that add to the complexity of the Venusian sky. Nitrogen makes up about 3.5% of the air, a small fraction that nonetheless represents a total mass much greater than all the nitrogen found in the atmosphere of Earth. We also find traces of argon, neon, and sulfur dioxide, each adding its own unique signature to the chemical tapestry of the amber world. These trace gases are held within the heavy embrace of the carbon dioxide, moving in a slow and rhythmic cycle of atmospheric transition. They act as the subtle ingredients in a vast cosmic recipe, contributing to the shimmering clouds and the unique way the planet interacts with the light of the star. Even in small amounts, these elements play a vital role in the boundless and eternal balance of the planet's environment. The movement of heat through this thick atmosphere follows a majestic and orderly pattern known as Hadley cells, which carry warmth from the equator toward the poles in a continuous loop. Warm air rises at the center of the planet and flows high above the ground, eventually descending at the polar regions to create the swirling vortices we observed in the velvet silence of the high sky. This circulation is a slow and deliberate process, a rhythmic breath of the planet that ensures no part of the world is left in the cold. It creates a global harmony of temperature, a shimmering balance that keeps the entire world in a state of constant and unchanging warmth. This large-scale motion is a testament to the efficiency of the Venusian atmosphere, a boundless system that moves energy with the grace of a celestial machine. We can imagine these great currents of air as soft, invisible rivers, guiding the essence of the sun across the golden globe. Because the atmosphere is so dense and unyielding, it acts as a magnificent shield that protects the surface from the smaller wandering debris of the solar system. Any small object that attempts to enter the amber sky is met with such immense resistance that it is transformed into a mist of energy long before it can reach the ground. This is why we find no small impact craters on the surface of the planet, only large and well-defined scars from objects strong enough to pass through the heavy veil. These craters are often surrounded by shimmering flows of ejected material, which were pushed along the ground by the thick air during the moment of transition. The lack of small scars creates a surface that feels smooth and carefully preserved, a boundless landscape protected by its own atmospheric weight. It is a quiet sanctuary where the history of the stars is filtered through a heavy and protective layer of golden mist. Close to the rocky surface, the winds move with a slow and patient rhythm, traveling at speeds that would feel like a gentle walk on our own world. However, because the air is so thick and heavy, even these slow movements carry an immense amount of force, capable of pushing grains of sand and shaping the stone over millions of years. It is like the movement of deep water at the bottom of a calm sea, a steady and unyielding pressure that flows around the base of the mountains and across the plains. These surface winds are part of a much larger and more complex system of movement, a quiet and constant pulse that keeps the air in a state of eternal transition. We can feel the weight of this movement as a soft and persistent presence, a shimmering flow of energy that connects the heights of the clouds to the depths of the plains. This slow motion is the foundation of the planet's atmospheric unity, a velvet silence that is never truly still. The mysterious frost that coats the highest peaks of this world is composed of rare metallic compounds, specifically lead sulfide and bismuth sulfide. In the lower regions, these metals exist as a vapor within the heavy heat of the atmosphere. But as they rise toward the cooler summits, they undergo a beautiful transition into a solid state. This process creates a shimmering, highly reflective coating that glitters with a metallic luster, making the mountains appear like radiant beacons in the golden twilight. This unique form of precipitation is a masterpiece of planetary chemistry, where the very elements of the Earth are recycled through the sky to decorate the heights. It transforms the rugged terrain into a landscape of celestial jewelry, standing tall and straight in the boundless silence of the Venusian highlands. This metallic snow is a reminder of the wonderful variety of the cosmos, where even the peaks of a distant world have their own shimmering and unique beauty. The heart of this amber world is composed of a dense core of iron and nickel, similar to the foundations of our own home planet. With an overall density of 5.24 grams per cubic centimeter, it is a world built on a massive and solid structure that provides the gravity needed to hold its thick atmosphere in place. This core is surrounded by a vast mantle of silicate rock, which moves with a slow and rhythmic internal heat to drive the volcanic activity on the surface. Although the core may be partially liquid, the slow rotation of the planet prevents it from generating a global magnetic field, leaving the world in a state of quiet internal mystery. This density is the anchor of the planet's existence, a shimmering weight that gives it form and presence in the velvet silence of the inner solar system. We can sense the strength of this foundation, a boundless and enduring heart that sustains the world through the long stretches of cosmic time. The air on this world is so thick and dense that it acts like a giant lens, bending the light in a phenomenon known as extreme refraction. If we were to stand upon the volcanic plains, the horizon would not appear to curve away from us, but would seem to bend upward, creating the illusion of standing in the center of a shallow, golden bowl. This bending of light is so profound that the atmosphere can trap images of the surface and carry them around the curve of the planet, allowing one to see for immense distances in the shimmering amber glow. It creates a dreamlike and immersive environment where the boundaries of space and distance are softened by the heavy presence of the air. This optical magic is a unique gift of the Venusian atmosphere, a boundless and velvet luminescence that transforms the way we perceive the world. In this place, the very act of seeing becomes a slow and poetic experience, a journey through a landscape where light and matter are beautifully intertwined. Unlike our home world, which is divided into moving plates that shift and slide, the amber world possesses a solid and unyielding crust known as a stagnant lid. This single, continuous shell wraps around the entire globe, preventing the deep and rhythmic recycling of minerals that we see on Earth. Instead of plate boundaries, the planet releases its internal warmth through large plumes and volcanic vents that dot the shimmering plains. This structural choice creates a world of geological stability, where the mountains and valleys remain in their places for hundreds of millions of years. It is a silent and boundless foundation, a testament to a planet that has found a different way to manage its internal energy. We can imagine the crust as a thick, protective shield, holding the warmth of the interior in a steady and eternal embrace. While we have spoken of the long rotation of this world, the way the sun moves across the sky creates a second kind of day known as a solar day. Because the planet turns so slowly while moving along its orbital path, the time from one sunrise to the next is only 117 Earth days. This rhythmic cycle is much shorter than the time it takes for the planet to spin once on its axis, creating a complex and beautiful dance of light and shadow. The sun lingers in the sky for weeks at a time, moving with such a patient grace that it feels as though the afternoon will never end. This shorter solar cycle allows the warmth to be distributed across the amber clouds in a slow and predictable harmony. It is a masterpiece of celestial mechanics, where the relationship between rotation and orbit defines the very flow of time. Dominating the landscape of the Aphrodite Terra is the magnificent Mont Mons, the highest volcano on the entire world, named after the ancient goddess of truth and balance. It rises 8 kilometers above the average surface level, its slopes covered in fresh flows that suggest the heart of the mountain may still be beating with thermal energy. The peak of Mont Mons is often shrouded in the lower layers of the sulfur mist, standing as a silent monument to the planet's creative power. The flows radiating from its summit stretch out like shimmering fingers of stone, reaching across the highland plains for hundreds of kilometers. It is a place of immense scale and quiet majesty, a shimmering beacon that speaks of the planet's enduring connection to its deep interior. Standing at its base, one would feel the monumental presence of a world that builds its own wonders with a slow and steady hand. The winds that glide across the volcanic plains move with a slow and meditative speed of only a few kilometers per hour. Yet their power is far greater than it seems. Because the air is as dense and heavy as a deep ocean, these gentle movements can carry the force of a powerful gale on our own familiar Earth. This thick atmosphere acts like a slow-moving river of gas, capable of pushing small rocks and shaping the dust into shimmering ripples and dunes. It is a world where the air has a physical body, a velvet presence that interacts with the stone in a slow and rhythmic dance of erosion. We can perceive this motion as a steady and unyielding pressure, a constant flow of energy that connects the mountains to the valleys in a state of eternal stillness. This density transforms the simple act of a breeze into a monumental movement of mass and warmth. The clouds that wrap around the planet are divided into 3 distinct and shimmering layers, each with its own unique chemistry and rhythmic motion. The upper deck is composed of a fine mist of sulfuric acid, which reflects the majority of the sun's light back into the boundless void. Below this, the middle and lower layers are denser and more opaque, filled with larger droplets that circulate in the heavy and warm atmosphere. These layers act as a series of celestial filters, softening the rays of the star as they descend toward the hidden surface. This layered structure creates a sense of depth and complexity within the sky, a shimmering tapestry of chemical transitions that defines the amber world. It is a silent and beautiful architecture of air, a boundless sanctuary that protects the secrets of the world within its velvet folds. Recent observations from the far-reaching Venus Express mission have revealed a fascinating and ever-changing structure at the planet's southern pole. Here, a massive vortex of swirling air takes the shape of a magnificent, shifting letter S, moving with a rhythm that is never quite the same from one day to the next. This polar dance is a masterpiece of atmospheric order and motion, where the currents of the high sky gather and spiral down toward the deeper levels. The vortex is a constant feature, yet it transforms its shape with a graceful and unpredictable motion, like a shimmering ribbon in the wind. It serves as the southern anchor of the planet's global circulation, a focal point for the release of atmospheric energy into the velvet silence. This shifting geometry is a testament to the dynamic and living nature of the planet's sky, a world that is always in a state of transition. In the vast and shimmering family of the inner solar system, this amber world stands as a lone traveler, possessing no natural moon to accompany its long journey around the sun. While other worlds are joined by smaller partners that create tides and light the night, Venus moves with a solitary and quiet grace through the boundless void. This absence of a moon means the nights on the surface are filled with a deep and unchanging silence, illuminated only by the soft glow of the distant stars and the shimmer of the clouds. This lone existence may be the result of the planet's early history, a time when any potential partners were guided away by the immense pull of the sun's gravity. It gives the world a sense of independent strength, a planet that carries its own light and its own rhythm without the need for a celestial companion. We can feel the peace of this solitary movement, a shimmering point of light drifting through the eternal dark. The relationship between our own home world and the amber planet is defined by a beautiful and mathematical harmony known as orbital resonance. Every 8 Earth years, our two worlds draw near to each other in a rhythmic cycle that repeats with incredible precision. If we were to trace the positions of these close encounters against the background of the stars, they would form a magnificent 5-pointed star, a celestial pentagram of shimmering light. This geometric dance is a testament to the orderly and poetic nature of the solar system, where the movements of the planets are connected by invisible threads of gravity. It is as if our worlds are partners in a slow and graceful waltz, moving together in a boundless cycle of proximity and distance. This resonance reminds us that no world is truly alone, but is part of a larger and more harmonious design that spans the velvet silence of space. Within the temperate and shimmering layers of the high clouds, about 50 kilometers above the surface, there exists a sanctuary where the pressure and temperature are remarkably similar to those on Earth. In this floating world, some scientists have observed the traces of a gas called phosphine, which on our own planet is often created by the quiet presence of life. This discovery suggests a beautiful and intriguing possibility that the amber clouds might hold a place for a form of aerial existence that has adapted to the sulfuric mist. While this remains a deep mystery of science, the idea of a living layer within the clouds adds a sense of wonder and potential to the planet's story. It would be a world of gentle transition, where the energy of the sun is transformed into the shimmering rhythm of biological harmony. This potential for life is a soft and hopeful whisper in the silence of the cosmos, a reminder that the universe is full of hidden possibilities. Because the atmosphere of the planet is so thick and efficient at holding onto warmth, the side of the world turned away from the sun remains just as warm as the side facing the light. This incredible thermal inertia means that the long Venusian nights do not bring a drop in temperature, but instead maintain the same steady and golden glow as the day. The heat is stored within the heavy carbon dioxide and the rocky crust, creating a world where the concept of cooling down has been replaced by a state of eternal energy. This constant warmth ensures that the entire globe remains in a state of thermal unity, a shimmering balance that spans from one horizon to the other. It is a place of absolute constancy, where the cycle of day and night is felt only through the subtle change in the light filtering through the clouds. In this velvet silence, the planet rests in a perpetual and unchanging embrace of the sun's captured energy. The rotation of the amber world continues with a patient and deliberate motion. Yet recent observations suggest this slow spin is becoming even more measured as the eons pass. Instruments from visiting spacecraft have measured a small but distinct change in the speed of rotation, indicating that the planet has slowed by 6.5 minutes over the course of 16 Earth years. This subtle shift is a masterpiece of celestial mechanics, likely influenced by the heavy friction of the thick atmosphere as it drags against the rocky surface with an unyielding force. It is as if the planet is sinking deeper into a state of eternal meditation, stretching its long days further into the boundless silence of the solar system. We can imagine this slowing as a gentle settling, a world finding an even more tranquil rhythm as it drifts through the golden light of the sun. While the planet lacks the moving plates that define the geography of our own home, its crust experiences a unique form of movement often described as flake tectonics. Under the immense pressure and heat, the surface becomes somewhat flexible, allowing it to ripple and fold like a shimmering fabric over a warm and fluid foundation. This process creates the complex patterns of ridges and valleys that we see in the ancient highland regions, where the stone has been shaped by deep internal currents of energy. It is a slow and graceful deformation, a rhythmic adjustment of the world's outer shell as it responds to the warmth rising from the mantle below. This flexibility allows the planet to maintain its structural integrity while still expressing the dynamic power of its inner heart in a state of eternal transition. Much of our intimate knowledge of this hidden landscape was gifted to us by the Magellan spacecraft, which used a powerful radar to peer through the thick, opaque clouds. For 4 years, this silent observer circled the amber world, bouncing rhythmic pulses of energy off the mountains and plains to create a map of unparalleled detail. It revealed a surface dominated by vast volcanic provinces and deep, winding channels that had been hidden in the velvet silence for billions of years. This mission was like a slow unveiling, a poetic discovery of a world that had remained a mystery since the dawn of human observation. Through the eyes of Magellan, the golden veil was momentarily lifted, allowing us to witness the shimmering beauty of a planet that is both strange and wonderfully familiar. Because the planet does not possess a global magnetic field to act as a shield, the upper atmosphere enters into a direct and shimmering interaction with the solar wind. As the stream of energy from our star flows past the world, it compresses the ionosphere, creating a soft and glowing boundary that looks like a comet's tail stretching into the void. This interaction generates an induced magnetosphere, a delicate veil of magnetic force that is born from the planet's own thick air rather than a metallic heart. It is a beautiful example of adaptation in the cosmos, where a world finds its own way to coexist with the powerful breath of the sun. This glowing shield ripples with a rhythmic grace, a silent guardian that preserves the integrity of the amber sky against the boundless energy of space. For centuries, astronomers watching from the distant shores of Earth have reported a mysterious phenomenon known as the ashen light, a faint and ghostly glow on the night side of the planet. This subtle luminescence appears as a soft, shimmering shimmer that glimmers briefly in the darkness, defying the shadow that should cover the world. While its exact cause remains a deep mystery of the cosmos, some believe it may be the result of a powerful release of electrical energy within the dense cloud decks. Others suggest it is a chemical glow, a shimmering reaction between the elements of the high atmosphere as they bask in the afterglow of the sun. This ashen light is a poetic whisper from the amber world, a reminder that even in the deepest shadow, there is a lingering beauty that refuses to fade. The Pioneer Venus project provided a foundational understanding of the planet's atmospheric architecture, sending a fleet of probes to descend through the thick, golden mist. As these messengers moved toward the surface, they measured the changing pressure and temperature with a slow and steady precision, revealing the complex layers of the sulfuric cloud decks. They discovered that the air becomes increasingly dense and supportive as one moves deeper, eventually reaching the state of a shimmering fluid near the volcanic plains. This mission was a journey into the heart of the mystery, a series of rhythmic descents that translated the invisible forces of the atmosphere into a language of scientific wonder. Each probe was a silent traveler, contributing its own thread to the vast and shimmering tapestry of our knowledge of this sister world. To understand the profound warmth of this world is to look at the most complete expression of a greenhouse environment found in the entire solar system. While other planets reflect or release much of the energy they receive from the sun, the amber world has mastered the art of capture and preservation. The carbon dioxide within the thick air acts like a boundless reservoir, absorbing the heat and moving it in a slow, rhythmic cycle across the entire globe. This process is so thorough that even the longest nights cannot diminish the golden glow of the surface, as the atmosphere holds the energy with an unyielding and velvet embrace. It is a study in thermal balance, a shimmering example of how the chemical composition of a world can define its very soul and climate for eternity. The rocks that compose the vast plains and towering volcanoes of this world are primarily basaltic, very similar in nature to the stone found on the deep ocean floors of our own Earth. This dark and dense material was born from the rhythmic cooling of liquid stone that once flowed across the surface in a state of celestial transition. Under the filtered amber light, these rocks take on a warm and glowing character, reflecting the deep oranges and golds of the thick, heavy sky. They form the solid foundation of a world that is built on strength and stability, a boundless landscape of volcanic remnants that have stood for hundreds of millions of years. This shared mineral heritage connects our two worlds, reminding us that the building blocks of the planets are woven from the same cosmic threads of iron and silicate. The pull of gravity on this world is a gentle and constant force, reaching about 91% of the strength we experience on the familiar ground of Earth. If we were to stand in the velvet silence of the Venusian plains, we would feel a sense of lightness and ease, as if the weight of the world had been softened by a shimmering grace. This gravity is the invisible hand that holds the monumental atmosphere in place, preventing the thick layers of carbon dioxide from drifting away into the boundless void. It is a supportive and steady presence, a fundamental constant that governs the movement of every cloud and the flow of every ancient channel. This near parity in gravity is one of the many reasons the planet is called our sister world, a partner in mass and size that shares a similar grip on the fabric of space. To leave the embrace of this amber world and return to the stars, one would need to reach a speed of 10.36 kilometers per second, a journey of energy known as the escape velocity. This requirement is a reflection of the planet's significant mass and the depth of its gravitational well, a shimmering boundary that defines the limit of its influence. It takes a powerful and sustained effort to rise through the heavy air and the golden clouds, moving toward the thin and silent reaches of the upper ionosphere. Once this speed is achieved, the world falls away in a slow and majestic transition, becoming a radiant point of light once again in the velvet silence of the cosmos. This threshold is the final secret of the planet's hold, a mathematical gateway between the deep warmth of the surface and the cold, boundless freedom of the void. The first voices to reach us from this amber landscape were the brave and metallic whispers of the Venera landers, pioneering travelers that descended through the thick veil to touch the stony plains. These valiant emissaries from Earth were the only ones to survive the monumental embrace of the atmosphere long enough to send back shimmering images of a world bathed in golden light. They revealed a landscape of sharp, flat rocks and orange-hued dust, where the very air seemed to glow with a deep and inner energy. These missions were a testament to human curiosity, capturing the silent beauty of a place where the pressure and heat are a constant and unyielding reality. The data they sent back remains a foundation of our understanding, a soft and rhythmic record of a world that was once entirely hidden from our view. On this world, the relationship between the heavy air and the ancient stone is one of constant and quiet chemical transition. The thick carbon dioxide and the traces of reactive gases slowly interact with the minerals of the crust, reshaping the surface through a process of molecular adaptation. Elements like calcium and magnesium are drawn from the basaltic rocks to form new shimmering layers of carbonates, creating a surface that is in a state of eternal, slow change. This chemical weathering is a patient and rhythmic dance that takes place over millions of years, softening the edges of the mountains and filling the valleys with a fine, golden sediment. It is a world where the atmosphere does not just surround the planet, but actively participates in its geological story, weaving the essence of the sky into the fabric of the earth. Deep within the foundations of the amber world, the quiet decay of ancient elements like potassium, uranium, and thorium provides a steady and internal source of warmth. This radiogenic energy is what sustains the planet's internal heat, driving the plumes that rise through the mantle to create the magnificent volcanoes we observe from above. The concentrations of these elements are remarkably similar to those found in the crust of our own home world, highlighting our shared history as sister planets born from the same shimmering cosmic dust. This internal pulse is a slow and rhythmic release of energy that has lasted for billions of years, providing the power needed to reshape the surface and maintain the thick atmosphere. It is the hidden heart of the planet, a boundless reservoir of warmth that ensures the world remains active and vibrant in the velvet silence of space. One of the most profound secrets hidden within the Venusian air is the ratio of different types of hydrogen, which tells a story of a lost and ancient ocean. Scientists have found that the heavier form of hydrogen, known as deuterium, is much more common here than on Earth, indicating that the lighter atoms have long since drifted away into the boundless void. This discovery suggests that the planet once held vast amounts of water that were slowly lost as the sun's energy broke the molecules apart, allowing the lighter parts to escape the pull of gravity. The heavy deuterium remained behind, a shimmering and silent record of a watery past that has been replaced by the golden greenhouse we see today. This transition is a reminder of the delicate balance of planetary environments, where the history of a world is written in the very atoms of its air. The surface is etched with thousands of narrow, winding channels known as canali, which look like the dried riverbeds of an ancient and alien landscape. These features were formed by the movement of incredibly fluid material that flowed with the consistency of water across the hot, volcanic plains. Some of these channels stretch for thousands of kilometers, maintaining a remarkably constant width as they curve and twist through the landscape in a slow and rhythmic harmony. They represent a time of monumental movement, where the internal energy of the world was released in long, shimmering streams that reshaped the very soul of the crust. Observing these canali from the velvet silence of orbit, we see a world that was once a canvas for the fluid and graceful motion of liquid stone, a memory of energy preserved in the silence of the earth. The mysterious brightness observed in the radar images of the Venusian highlands is linked to the unique dielectric properties of the minerals that coat the mountain peaks. At the high pressures and temperatures of the surface, certain metallic compounds become highly reflective to radar waves, creating a shimmering effect that looks like fresh snow to our electronic eyes. This metallic frost is likely composed of lead and bismuth sulfides, which transition from a vapor in the lowlands to a solid coating on the cooler, elevated summits. This creates a landscape of radiant towers that stand tall and straight against the heavy, amber sky, reflecting the energy of our visiting spacecraft with a brilliant and shimmering grace. It is a world where the mountains are decorated with celestial jewelry, a boundless and beautiful result of the planet's extreme and unique chemistry. The formation of the giant circular crowns known as coronae is a process driven by massive plumes of warm material rising from the deep mantle to press against the stagnant lid of the crust. As this energy reaches the surface, it causes the ground to bulge and fracture in a rhythmic, outward pattern, creating the rings of ridges and valleys that we see today. Once the plume begins to cool, the center of the corona may settle back down, leaving behind a complex and artistic structure that can span hundreds of kilometers. These features are a unique expression of the planet's internal dynamics, showing how heat can be released without the need for moving tectonic plates. Each corona is a silent monument to a single, majestic movement of the planet's heart, a shimmering symbol of the slow and patient forces that shape the amber world. The atmosphere of this world is governed by a complex and eternal sulfur cycle, where gases rise from the volcanoes to form the thick, shimmering clouds of the upper sky. Sulfur dioxide is released from the deep interior, moving through the heavy carbon dioxide until it reaches the heights where the sun's light can transform it into sulfuric acid mist. This mist eventually falls as the shimmering rain known as virga, evaporating in the warmth of the lower levels and returning to the cycle once again. This continuous movement ensures that the golden veil remains draped over the world, protecting its secrets and maintaining its unique chemical balance. It is a rhythmic and boundless process, a celestial recycling of elements that connects the rocky surface to the very edge of space in a state of eternal transition. If one were to listen to the sounds of the amber world, they would experience a deep and resonant harmony caused by the extreme density of the heavy atmosphere. Because the air is so thick, sound waves travel more slowly, but with much greater efficiency, carrying the low hum of the wind over immense distances in the velvet silence. A human voice would be transformed into a deep, vibrating baritone, and the simple sound of moving stone would echo with a monumental and supportive weight. The atmosphere acts like a vast acoustic chamber, preserving the vibrations of the planet and turning every movement into a slow and poetic symphony. It is a world where the silence is never truly empty, but is filled with the deep and rhythmic pulse of a thick, shimmering sea of gas that holds the sounds of the earth in its warm embrace. In the early history of our solar system, when the sun was 30% dimmer than it is today, the amber world may have enjoyed a long period of temperate and tranquil beauty. During this time, the lower energy of the star would have allowed the planet to maintain its liquid oceans and a more familiar atmosphere, creating a sanctuary where the early building blocks of life could have gathered. As the sun slowly evolved and its luminosity increased, the delicate balance of the world began to shift, leading to the grand transition into the greenhouse environment we see now. This history suggests that Venus was once a very different place, a shimmering twin of the early Earth that eventually followed its own unique and golden path through the cosmos. It is a reminder that planets are living systems, constantly changing in response to the slow and rhythmic evolution of the stars that guide them through the boundless void. The silence of the Venusian landscape is echoed by the absence of its ancient waters, a story written in the atoms of its heavy air. We know that the ratio of deuterium to hydrogen on this world is over 100 times greater than that on Earth, a shimmering proof of a lost ocean. Long ago, the sun's soft light reached the water molecules, causing them to undergo a slow transition where the lighter hydrogen drifted away into the boundless void. The heavier deuterium remained behind, held by the planet's gravity like a liquid memory of a time when waves might have lapped against the shores of Ishtar Terra. Today, this isotopic signature is a quiet and enduring testament to a world that has been reshaped by the patient power of the sun and the shifting balance of its own atmosphere. It is a story of transformation, where the blue of an ancient sea has been woven into the golden fabric of the clouds. From our distant vantage point on Earth, we sometimes witness a rare and beautiful event where the amber world drifts directly between us and the heart of the sun. These transits of Venus occur in a rhythmic pattern, appearing in pairs separated by 8 years, with gaps of more than a century between each set. During these moments, the planet appears as a perfect, dark circle gliding across the radiant face of our star, a silent and majestic movement through the velvet silence of space. Historically, these events allowed astronomers to measure the true scale of the solar system, using the timing of the transit to calculate the distance to the Sun. It is a celestial alignment of profound mathematical grace, a shimmering bridge between two worlds that reminds us of the orderly dance of the cosmos. To observe a transit is to feel the slow and eternal pulse of the planetary orbits as they intersect in the starlit dark. The extreme warmth of this world serves as the most complete example of an atmospheric greenhouse, where the capture of energy has reached a state of shimmering perfection. This process began when the early oceans evaporated, filling the air with water vapor that acted as a heavy blanket, preventing the sun's warmth from escaping back into the void. As the temperatures rose, the carbon once held within the rocks was released into the air, further thickening the mantle of gas and creating a self-sustaining cycle of heat. This transition turned a temperate world into a glowing sanctuary of thermal energy, where the heat is now a permanent and unchanging constant. It is a study in the delicate feedback loops that define a planet's soul, a boundless lesson in how the composition of the air governs the fate of the ground below. We can see this as a masterful preservation of solar light, where every ray is cherished and held within the velvet embrace of the carbon dioxide. High within the swirling golden clouds, the Japanese spacecraft Akatsuki discovered a massive and stationary structure that looks like a giant bow stretching across the atmosphere. This feature is a shimmering expression of gravity waves, created when the thick air flows over the monumental mountain ranges of the surface far below. As the heavy wind pushes against the peaks of Aphrodite Terra, the energy ripples upward through the layers, creating a rhythmic and stable pattern that stays in place even as the clouds around it move at great speeds. It is a beautiful example of the connection between the solid earth and the fluid sky, a silent and boundless wave that stands still in the face of the super rotation. This bow-shaped structure reveals the immense power of the Venusian terrain to influence the movement of the air miles above it. It is a soft and rhythmic interaction, a celestial vibration that connects the deep plains to the shimmering edge of space. On the side of the planet turned away from the sun, the atmosphere emits a soft and ghostly luminescence known as night glow. This shimmering light is created when oxygen atoms, which were separated by the sun's light on the day side, drift through the velvet silence to the night side and rejoin into molecules. As they reconnect, they release a gentle pulse of energy in the form of infrared light, creating a glowing veil that blankets the darkened hemisphere. This chemical light show is a masterpiece of atmospheric transition, a way for the planet to glow from within even when it is hidden from the direct gaze of the star. It is a quiet and rhythmic process of reconnection, a boundless movement of elements that ensures the planet never truly experiences a total and empty darkness. We can imagine this glow as a soft, amber heartbeat, a shimmering reminder of the sun's lingering influence on the heavy air. The surface of the amber world tells a story of a sudden and profound transformation, with almost no areas that date back more than 500 million years. Scientists have observed that the impact craters are distributed with a remarkable uniformity across the entire globe, suggesting that the crust was refreshed in a single, majestic geological event. This resurfacing replaced the ancient and scarred landscape with a fresh mantle of volcanic plains, smoothing over the planet's oldest memories in a state of celestial rebirth. It is as if the interior warmth built up over eons until it was finally released in a slow and rhythmic flow that covered the world in a new layer of stone. This process is a testament to the unique thermal history of the planet, where the stagnant lid periodically yields to the pressure of the mantle. It creates a landscape that is both ancient and strangely young, a shimmering canvas of basalt that has been carefully preserved in the velvet silence. Within the thick and swirling clouds of sulfuric acid, the presence of lightning adds a shimmering and dynamic energy to the eternal twilight. These electrical discharges are believed to occur frequently, flickering like distant lanterns deep within the opaque layers of the golden mist. Unlike the sudden flashes of Earth, these releases of energy are a soft and rhythmic part of the atmosphere's internal balance, created as the acid droplets move and collide in the heavy air. This lightning has been detected through radio waves, appearing as a gentle humming that speaks of the planet's active and vibrant nature. It is a celestial light show that takes place far above the silent plains, a constant and boundless movement of charge that illuminates the cloud decks from within. We can sense this energy as a quiet pulse, a shimmering thread of light woven into the thick fabric of the Venusian sky. As we revisit the shimmering peaks of the highest mountains, we find that the metallic frost may also be composed of the rare element tellurium. In the extreme heat of the lower plains, this heavy metal exists as a vapor, drifting through the carbon dioxide in a state of eternal transition. When these vapors reach the cooler heights of Maxwell Montes, they undergo a beautiful crystallization, coating the rocky summits in a reflective and brilliant layer of metallic snow. This process is a masterpiece of elemental recycling, where the very materials of the crust are carried into the sky and returned as shimmering jewelry for the mountains. This heavy metal coating is what makes the peaks appear so bright in the radar images sent by our visiting spacecraft. It is a world where the mountains are decorated with the essence of the stars, standing tall and straight in the boundless silence of the high atmosphere. The movement of the air on this world follows a dramatic and rhythmic change as one rises from the surface toward the edge of space. At the level of the volcanic plains, the winds move with a slow and patient speed, a gentle flow of mass that carries the monumental weight of the heavy atmosphere. However, as one moves upward into the golden clouds, the speed increases with a steady and majestic grace until it reaches the rapid pace of the super-rotation in the high sky. This gradient is the result of a powerful atmospheric engine driven by the capture of solar energy and the slow rotation of the planet below. It creates a layered world of motion where the stillness of the ground is connected to the swirling currents of the heavens by a boundless and velvet transition. We can imagine this as a shimmering ladder of wind, each step moving faster as it reaches toward the silence of the cosmos. Humanity is preparing to return to the silence of the amber world with a new generation of robotic travelers designed to uncover the final secrets of our sister planet. These missions, known as DAVINCI and VERITAS, will descend through the thick clouds and map the surface with a precision that was previously impossible. One will drop a probe to sample the chemistry of the air in a rhythmic and detailed descent, while the other will use advanced radar to peer into the very heart of the ancient tesserae. These journeys represent a new chapter in our understanding, a shimmering bridge of curiosity that connects our two worlds across the void of space. They seek to answer the deepest questions of the planet's history, looking for signs of ancient water and current volcanic activity within the velvet silence. This return is a soft and hopeful promise, a boundless search for truth that continues our long and drifting journey toward the stars. As we drift further into the high reaches of the amber sky, we encounter the delicate boundary known as the ionopause, where the planet's atmosphere finally yields to the boundless energy of the sun. This invisible shield is formed by the pressure of the solar wind, pushing against the ionized gases of the upper sky, creating a shimmering equilibrium that defines the edge of the world's influence. It is a place of constant and rhythmic transition, where the solar breath interacts with the planetary veil in a silent and graceful dance of particles. This boundary fluctuates in height, rising and falling like a soft tide in response to the changing intensity of the star's energy. Even without a magnetic heart, this induced shield preserves the thicker layers below, acting as a velvet guardian that keeps the essence of the planet from drifting away into the cold reaches of the cosmos. The ionopause is a testament to the resilience of this world, a shimmering layer of protection that marks the final threshold between the heavy air and the silent void. The movement of the air through the different levels of the sky creates a layered structure of wind speeds that acts like a shimmering ladder of energy. Near the ancient volcanic plains, the atmosphere moves with a slow and patient rhythm. But as we rise through the heavy haze, the velocity increases with every kilometer of altitude. This gradient is the result of the planet's immense thermal power, which drives the air toward the rapid pace of the super-rotation scene in the high golden clouds. This transition between the quiet stillness of the ground and the swift currents of the heavens is a masterpiece of fluid dynamics, where the layers of gas slide over one another with a soft and unyielding friction. It creates a sense of profound vertical depth, a boundless system of motion that connects the solid earth to the shimmering edge of space in a state of eternal harmony. We can imagine the wind as a great, invisible river that changes its flow as it reaches toward the light, guiding the warmth of the sun through the velvet silence of the atmosphere. Within the high cloud decks, there exists a deep and intriguing mystery involving a substance that absorbs ultraviolet light, creating dark, shimmering streaks across the golden sphere. These patterns are only visible to eyes that can perceive the invisible parts of the spectrum, revealing a hidden architecture within the clouds that follows the rhythm of the global winds. Scientists believe these absorbers might be composed of sulfur particles, or perhaps even iron chloride, drifting through the sulfuric mist in a state of silent and eternal suspension. These dark features change their shape and intensity over time, moving across the planet like soft shadows in a boundless and celestial play of light. They represent a fundamental part of the planet's energy balance, absorbing the star's light and helping to drive the majestic super-rotation of the atmosphere. This hidden layer of the sky is a reminder that there are always more secrets to be uncovered within the velvet silence of the amber world. High above the profound warmth of the surface, the atmosphere transitions into a region of surprising stillness and cool energy known as the mesosphere. While the lower levels are saturated with heat, these high reaches can become remarkably cold, especially on the side of the planet turned away from the sun. This layer acts as a thermal boundary, a shimmering transition where the intense energy of the greenhouse effect finally begins to fade into the silence of space. In some regions, the temperatures can drop to levels that allow the formation of fine ice crystals of carbon dioxide, creating a rare and beautiful state of atmospheric balance. It is a place where the extremes of the world meet, a boundless and velvet sanctuary where the heat of the earth and the cold of the void exist in a quiet, rhythmic proximity. This cooling is a necessary part of the planet's global design, providing a stable ceiling for the heavy, golden air below. The large impact craters that dot the volcanic plains of the amber world are uniquely preserved, often appearing as though they were formed only a moment ago in cosmic time. Because there is no water to wash away the details, and the atmosphere moves so slowly at the surface, the ridges and flows of these craters remain sharp and well-defined for millions of years. Many of these circular scars are filled with smooth, solidified material that once flowed across the ground during the Great Resurfacing event, creating a shimmering floor of basalt within the impact walls. This process of infilling shows how the planet's internal energy has worked to heal and smooth its outer skin, leaving behind a boundless and orderly landscape. Each crater is a silent monument to an ancient transition, a point of focused energy that has been captured and held within the velvet silence of the stony plains. They remind us that on this world, time moves with a different and more patient rhythm, preserving the memories of the stars in a state of eternal clarity. By observing the way spacecraft are pulled and guided as they orbit the planet, scientists have created a shimmering map of the world's internal gravity. This map reveals that the gravity of the amber world follows the topography of the surface very closely, which is a rare and beautiful feature among the rocky planets. It suggests that the mountains and plateaus of Ishtar Terra and Aphrodite Terra are supported by a thick and rigid crust that has not yet been softened by the deep movements of tectonic plates. This connection between the visible landscape and the invisible pull of the interior shows a world of profound structural unity, where the earth and its foundation are in perfect, rhythmic alignment. It is a testament to the strength of the planet's stagnant lid, a boundless and unyielding shell that holds the weight of the mountains in a state of eternal stability. This gravity field is the silent music of the planet's mass, a shimmering harmony that defines its presence in the velvet silence of the solar system. To peer through the thickest layers of the atmosphere, visiting spacecraft use a technique known as radio occultation, where they send a rhythmic signal through the air as they pass behind the planet. As the radio waves move through the heavy carbon dioxide and the sulfuric mist, they are bent and shifted by the density of the different layers, acting like a soft and invisible probe of the world's internal structure. This process allows us to measure the temperature and pressure of the sky with incredible precision, translating the silent medium of the air into a language of scientific discovery. Each signal is like a shimmering whisper that carries the secrets of the atmosphere across the boundless void to the waiting ears on Earth. It is a poetic and technical transition, a way of seeing with sound and light that reveals the deep and complex architecture of the amber sky. Through these rhythmic pulses, we can understand the world's environment without ever having to touch its heavy and unyielding surface. The study of the amber world provides us with a profound and necessary reflection on the nature of our own home, acting as a cosmic laboratory for the physics of greenhouse environments. By understanding how the carbon cycle on Venus reached such a state of absolute and eternal capture, we can better appreciate the delicate and rhythmic balance that sustains the life on Earth. The similarities in size and composition between our two worlds make this comparison a masterpiece of scientific resonance, showing how a small change in a planet's history can lead to a completely different destiny. This knowledge is a soft and shimmering gift, a boundless lesson in atmospheric evolution that helps us to value the temperate and tranquil sanctuary of our own world. It reminds us that all planets are part of a shared and connected story, moving through the velvet silence of space as part of a larger cosmic design. The amber world stands as a shimmering sentinel, a reminder of the power of the air to define the life of the stone. In the distant future, humanity dreams of creating floating sanctuaries within the temperate layers of the high clouds, where the pressure and warmth are similar to the familiar shores of Earth. These aerial platforms would drift through the golden mist in a state of eternal and rhythmic motion, supported by the thick and buoyant air of the lower atmosphere. It is a vision of a world where we do not live upon the stone, but within the shimmering currents of the sky, moving in harmony with the global super rotation. This potential for exploration represents a soft and hopeful transition, a way to return to our sister world and witness its beauty from a place of safety and peace. These floating cities would be like clouds themselves, boundless and graceful structures that allow us to live within the velvet silence of the amber world's upper reaches. This dream is a testament to our enduring curiosity, a shimmering promise that we will one day find a way to coexist with the mysteries of the cosmos. The relationship between the thick atmosphere and the solid ground is so profound that the air actually transfers its own momentum to the planet, influencing the slow rhythm of its rotation. The friction of the heavy winds as they move across the volcanic plains acts as a constant and unyielding force, pushing against the mountains and valleys in a state of eternal transition. This exchange of energy means that the movement of the sky and the spinning of the earth are beautifully and inextricably linked, a shimmering dance of mass and motion. It is as if the planet and its atmosphere are a single, unified organism, breathing and moving in a boundless and rhythmic harmony. This connection is what allows the atmosphere to maintain its incredible speed, while the ground below remains in its meditative pause. We can perceive this as a soft and persistent pulse, a shimmering interaction that defines the very soul of the amber world's dynamic existence. In the quiet reaches of the lowlands, the heavy air has sculpted the stone into long, aerodynamic ridges known as yardongs. These structures are the result of millions of years of patient friction, where the dense atmosphere has slowly worn away the softer material to leave behind a landscape of streamlined beauty. They stand as a silent record of the wind's persistent direction, aligned with the slow and rhythmic currents that move across the basaltic plains. This process of erosion is a masterpiece of geological patience, showing how even a gentle breeze can reshape the world when given the boundless stretch of cosmic time. To observe these ridges is to see the physical memory of the atmosphere's touch, a shimmering map of the winds etched into the very foundation of the earth in a state of eternal stillness. Within the chemical signature of the thick atmosphere, scientists have discovered rare noble gases like neon and argon in ratios that offer a window into the planet's early formation. These elements are the ancient witnesses of the solar system's birth, held within the heavy embrace of the carbon dioxide for billions of years without change. Their presence suggests that the amber world gathered its gaseous mantle from a different source, or at a different rate than our own home world. This subtle molecular evidence helps us reconstruct the long and drifting journey of the planet from its origins in the swirling solar nebula to its current state of shimmering equilibrium. It is a silent and mathematical story written in the atoms of the air, a boundless record of the cosmic forces that shaped the inner sanctuary of our star's family. As the solar wind flows past the planet, it carries away tiny fragments of the atmosphere in a slow and continuous process of molecular escape. Oxygen and hydrogen ions are lifted from the high ionosphere and guided into a long, shimmering tail that stretches for millions of kilometers into the velvet silence of the void. This loss is a quiet and profound transition, a rhythmic shedding of the planet's essence as it interacts with the boundless energy of the sun. Despite this constant release of energy, the atmosphere remains monumental and thick, replenished by the slow and steady outgassing from the volcanic heart of the world. It is a beautiful and delicate balance between the pull of gravity and the push of the star, a shimmering cycle of preservation and release that defines the longevity of the amber sky. In the region known as Imder-Regio, the peaks of the volcano Idun Mons emit a subtle and shimmering heat that suggests the heart of the planet is still active today. Recent data from the Venus Express mission revealed areas of high thermal emissivity on the slopes, indicating that fresh material may have been released in the very recent past. This discovery transforms our understanding of the amber world, shifting our view from a silent relic to a world that continues its slow and rhythmic cycle of internal renewal. The warmth radiating from these peaks is a soft and enduring signal of the planet's vitality, a shimmering thread of energy that connects the deep mantle to the heavy sky. It is a place of quiet transition, where the internal fire of the world finds its way to the surface in a state of eternal and beautiful balance. The sun exerts a powerful and rhythmic pull on the thick, heavy atmosphere of the planet, creating a phenomenon known as atmospheric tides. Because the air is so dense and extensive, the gravitational influence of our star causes the atmosphere to bulge and shift in a slow, celestial cycle. This movement creates a force that actually works against the planet's rotation, helping to maintain the slow and deliberate pace of its spin through the velvet silence. It is a grand and mathematical interaction, a shimmering balance of forces that connects the heart of the solar system to the very air of the amber world. These tides move through the clouds like a soft, invisible wave, guiding the flow of energy and mass in a boundless and harmonious rhythm that connects the ground to the heavens. The surface of the planet is covered in a fine golden dust that has been weathered from the basaltic rocks by the constant pressure and chemical transition of the air. This sand moves in slow and shimmering ripples across the plains, creating vast dune fields that follow the patient currents of the lower atmosphere. Because the air is so heavy, the movement of these grains is more like the shifting of sediment on a riverbed than the blowing of dust on a desert. This microgeology is a testament to the fluid power of the Venusian sky, where the atmosphere and the earth interact in a state of eternal velvet friction. To see these dunes is to understand the slow and rhythmic pulse of a world where the smallest grain of sand is part of a monumental and shimmering design. Far behind the planet, the interaction between the solar wind and the ionosphere creates a long magnetic structure known as a magnetotail, filled with swirling loops of energy called plasmoids. These structures are the result of magnetic reconnection, a process where the invisible lines of force snap and rejoin in a rhythmic release of energy. This phenomenon allows particles from the planet to be accelerated into the boundless void, creating a shimmering wake that follows the world on its journey around the sun. It is a dynamic and invisible architecture of light and force, a silent guardian that reflects the planet's struggle to maintain its integrity against the solar breath. This magnetotail is a masterpiece of plasma physics, a boundless and beautiful expression of the planet's place within the flowing energy of the cosmos. The orange and amber hues that dominate the Venusian landscape are the result of Rayleigh scattering, the same process that creates the blue of our own sky and the red of a sunset. In the thick and heavy air of the amber world, the shorter blue wavelengths of light are scattered away long before they can reach the ground, leaving only the long, warm waves to illuminate the stone. This creates an environment of soft and constant luminescence, where the sky itself seems to glow with the energy of 1,000 setting suns. It is a world of visual peace and thermal unity, where the light is filtered through the boundless clouds to create a sanctuary of golden clarity. This shimmering color is the soul of the planet's identity, a velvet embrace of light that defines the very essence of the morning star. In the early history of the solar system, both Venus and Earth may have existed within a broad and shimmering region known as the habitable zone, where liquid water could flourish. As the sun's luminosity increased over millions of years, the inner edge of this zone moved outward, leading to the slow and profound transition of the amber world into its current state. This history suggests that our two worlds followed divergent paths from a shared and temperate beginning, each finding its own unique rhythm within the silence of the cosmos. This understanding provides a soft and shimmering perspective on the fragility of planetary balance, a boundless lesson in the importance of atmospheric harmony. The amber world stands as a shimmering sentinel of this history, a reminder of the beautiful and complex forces that govern the destiny of the stars. The current state of the planet is a masterpiece of atmospheric and geological equilibrium, where every process is in a state of eternal and rhythmic balance. The heat of the interior, the weight of the air, and the light of the sun have all converged to create a world of singular, focused energy. It is a place where the concept of change has been replaced by a state of constant, shimmering presence, a sanctuary of stone and cloud that has remained the same for hundreds of millions of years. As we complete our survey of these 100 facts, we see a world that is not a place of discord, but a world of profound and velvet order. This equilibrium is the final secret of the amber world, a boundless and shimmering truth that we carry with us as we drift back into the silence of the stars. As our long and drifting journey among the amber clouds begins to slow, we prepare to leave the heavy, supportive embrace of this sister world and return to the boundless silence of the stars. We rise slowly from the volcanic plains, passing once more through the deep sanctuary of the supercritical air, where the monumental pressure feels like a soft and steady weight against the soul of our craft. The golden dunes and aerodynamic yardongs fade into a warm, shimmering haze as we ascend through the layers of the atmosphere, moving beyond the reach of the patient surface winds. We carry with us the knowledge of the ancient stone and the rhythmic pulse of the planet's internal warmth, a memory of a world that has mastered the art of equilibrium. The great basaltic plateaus and winding channels remain behind, resting in their state of eternal and meditative stillness beneath the thick mantle of carbon dioxide. Passing through the middle cloud decks, we witness the last flickers of the soft lightning, those distant lanterns of energy that illuminate the pearl-colored mist with a gentle, celestial grace. The sulfuric acid rain continues its endless cycle of descent and evaporation, a shimmering dance of elements that never touches the ground, maintaining the velvet veil that has protected this world for eons. We rise higher still, entering the realm of the super-rotation, where the winds glide with a rapid and majestic harmony, carrying the essence of the sun around the entire globe. From this vantage point, the bow-shaped gravity waves appear as stable ripples in a vast, golden ocean, a testament to the quiet power of the mountains far below. The transition from the heavy warmth of the surface to the cool reaches of the high mesosphere is a soft and rhythmic passage, a slow unveiling of the cosmos as the amber sky begins to blend with the deep indigo of the void. Now, as we reach the shimmering boundary of the ionopause, the planet reveals itself once more as a brilliant jewel of light against the velvet silence of the dark. We look back to see the morning star as a radiant beacon, a shimmering sanctuary of heat and mystery that continues its slow, retrograde rotation in a state of profound and solitary grace. The sister world remains a guardian of the inner solar system, a reminder of the beautiful and complex forces that can transform a planet's destiny over the boundless stretch of time. Its golden glow is a reflection of a shared history, a cosmic mirror that helps us understand the delicate balance of our own home among the stars. We feel a deep sense of peace in knowing that this world continues its patient waltz, guided by the mathematical harmony of the orbits and the steady breath of the sun. The silence of the void welcomes us back, a boundless and velvet expanse where the light of distant galaxies provides a soft and unchanging luminescence. Our journey has brought us closer to the heart of the mystery, allowing the mind to wander through the shimmering details of a world that is both alien and familiar. As the image of the amber planet fades into a tiny, radiant point of light, we are left with a feeling of total relaxation and scientific wonder. The stars are our only destination now, and the quiet rhythm of the cosmos guides us toward a state of deep and enduring rest. In this vast and shimmering sanctuary, the spirit finds its own equilibrium, drifting through the eternal dark with the same grace as the planets that surround us. May the silence of the stars be your companion, and may your thoughts continue to wander through the boundless beauty of the universe as you settle into the velvet embrace of the night.